Om Namo Narayana. Welcome back. Today we are reading the Rudraksha Jabala Upanishad. So, the Rudraksha being the seeds that we often wear in our malas. I think some of you will probably find this really interesting. This is the only Upanishad that I know of, or of the ones I've read so far, that talk about this seed in depth. So, this will be quite informative, given the prominence of this in our malas. Some people call it even the most blessed thing that we use. So yeah, this is very interesting. So also it's very short. So here we go. Om. I praise the effulgent state of absolute peace belonging to Sri Maharudra, which is known to be through the Rudraksha Jabala Upanishad. Vusunda questioned Lord Kalagnirudra, what is the beginning of the Rudraksha beads? What is the benefit of wearing them on the body? The Lord answered, I closed my eyes for the sake of destroying the Tripura Asuras. From my eyes thus closed, drops of water fell on the earth. These drops of tears turned into Rudrakshas. By the mere utterance of their name, one acquires the benefit of giving 10 cows in charity. By seeing and touching it, one attains double that benefit. I am unable to praise it any more. I closed my eyes 1,000 celestial years. Then from my eyelids drops of water drop down and attain the state of immobility for blessing the devoted persons. This Rudraksha destroys the devotee's sins that are committed both night and day by wearing it. By mere vision of the Rudraksha, the benefit will say a lakh, but by wearing them it will be a crore. Why, it will be equal to 100 crores. But it will be 1,000 lakhs of crores and 100 lakhs of crores more powerful when one does japa with Rudraksha and wears it at all times. Among Rudrakshas, one as big as a malaka is considered to be the best. One as big as the badari fruit, or Indian berry, is considered to be of the middle sort. But that as big as chana, or the Bengal gram, is considered to be the worst of all. This is my idea about the size of the beads. The four kinds of people, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, are born as merely a worthless burden on the earth. The real Brahmin is the white Rudraksha, the red is Kshatriya, the yellow is a Vaishya, and the black is a Shudra. Therefore, a Brahmin should wear white, a Kshatriya red, a Vaishya yellow, and a Shudra the black. One should use those beads which are nice, handsome, strong, big, auspicious, and thorny. One should avoid those eaten by worms, broken, without thorns, and having sores. The self-holed beads are of the best variety, but that which is holed by man's attempt is considered to be the worst. Those best beads should be strung in white thread. A worshipper of Shiva should wear Rudraksha all over the body. He should wear one bead on the crest, 300 round the head, 36 round the neck, 16 round each arm, 12 round the chest, and 500 round the waist. He should wear a Yajnopavita consisting of 108 beads. He should wear 2, 3, 5, or 7 malas of the beads round the neck. A Shiva Bhakta should wear Rudrakshas around his crown, earring, chain round the ear, armlet at all times, and especially around the stomach, irrespective of the fact whether he is sleeping, drinking, etc. If the devotee wears 300 beads, it is the worst. If he wears 500, it will be medium, but 1,000 will be the best of all. The devotee, when wearing Rudrakshas on the head, should repeat his Ishta mantra. When wearing them around the neck, he should repeat the Tat Parusha mantra, and when wearing round the throat, should also repeat the Aghora mantra. The same Aghora mantra should be recited when wearing round the chest also. He should wear them around the arms with the Aghora Bija mantra. Then again, Basunda asked Lord Kalagnirudra, What are the different forms and effects of the beads? Please tell me about the secret of those blessed ones, including their various faces, which is the means of getting rid of all evil. The Lord said, "The bead with one face is of the form of the supreme truth. A disciplined one controlling his senses mingles himself with the one eternal truth after wearing these beads. The bead with the two faces is of the form of Shiva united with Shakti, and the devotee wearing it attains the grace of Shiva united with Shakti. The bead with three faces is of the form of the three fires, and the devotee wearing it attains the grace of Agni. The bead with four faces is of the form of the four-faced Brahma, and the devotee wearing it attains the grace of Brahma. The bead with five faces is of the form of the five-faced Shiva, and the devotee wearing it attains the grace of this five-faced Shiva and drives away the sin of homicide. The bead with six faces is of the form of the six-faced Ganesha, and the devotee wearing it attains the grace of wealth and health, clear intellect and wisdom, and purification. The bead with seven faces is of the form of the seven mother goddesses, and the devotee wearing it attains the grace of wealth and health, right perception, and purity of mind. The bead with eight faces is of the form of the five elements, mind, ego, and matter, or the eight vasus, and the devotee wearing it attains the grace of these devatas and becomes truthful. The bead with the nine faces is of the form of the Nava Shaktis, and the devotee wearing it attains the grace of the nine powers. The bead with the 10 faces is of the form of the 10 yamas, means used by yogins, and the devotee wearing it attains the grace of achieving peace of mind. The bead with the 11 faces is of the form of the 11 Rudras, and the devotee wearing it attains the grace of increased well-being and wealth. The bead with 12 faces is of the form of Mahavishnu, or the 12 Adityas, and the devotee wearing it attains the grace of moksha. The bead with 13 faces is of the form of Cupid, or the god of love, and the devotee wearing it attains the grace of Cupid in gratifying all desires. The bead with 14 faces is of the form of Rudra, being generated out of his eyes, and the devotee wearing it attains the grace of the destruction of all diseases. One who wears the beads should not use intoxicants, should not eat meat, garlic, onions, carrots, and all such prohibited things. By wearing them during eclipses, the new moon, full moon, and other such auspicious days, one is freed of all sins. The base of the Rudraksha bead is Brahma. Its navel is Vishnu, its face is Rudra, and its whole consists of all gods. One day, Sanat Kumara asked Lord Kalignarodra, "O Lord, tell me the rules for wearing the Rudraksha beads." At that time, Nidaga, Jadabharata, Dattatreya, Katyayana, Bharadvaja, Kapala, Vashista, Pipalada, etc., came to the Lord. Then the Lord asked them why they all had come in a group. They all answered that they came to hear the method of wearing the beads. The Lord said, "Those that are born out of Rudra's eyes are called Rudrakshas. When these beads are even once touched by hand, one attains the glory of giving in charity 2,000 cows at a time. When they're worn in ears, he gets the effect of giving out 11,000 cows in charity. He also attains the state of the 11 Rudras. When the beads are worn on the head, one has the benefit of giving 1,000,000 of cows in charity. Of all these places I am unable to tell you the benefit when worn in the ears. Whoever studies this Upanishad, be he a boy or a youth, becomes great. He becomes the guru of all and the teacher of all mantras. Havan and Arkshana should be done with these mantras of the Upanishad. That Brahmin who recites this Upanishad in the evening destroys the sins committed during the day. One who recites it at noon destroys the sin of 6 births. He who recites it in the morning and the evening destroys the sin of many births. He attains the same benefit of doing 6,000 lakhs of Gayatri Japa. He becomes purified from all sins of killing a Brahmin, drinking toddy, stealing gold, approaching the Guru's wife, having intercourse with her, speaking with a corrupted person, etc. He gets the benefits of all pilgrimages and river baths. He attains Siva Satyuga. He does not come back to rebirth. And thus ends this interesting Upanishad. I have questions. I have questions. So the Lord is speaking, and at one point the Lord goes, of the benefit worn on the ears, I don't know. Really, the Lord who created these beads, who knows all this, doesn't know the benefit when worn on the ears. That sounds like such a man made answer. And then the benefit will be 2,000 cows. The charity of 2,000 cows is being given away when you wear these beads. Well, my fellow Americans, let me ask you, of what benefit will you attain when you give 2,000 cows to your neighbor? I'm 99% sure your neighbor will say you're insane, and the city will come after you with laws because you don't have a right to be raising farm animals in your apartment complex. And your neighbor will go, where am I going to put 2,000 cows? And I'm sure lots of people are going to come after you for cow abuse or animal abuse. Even if your neighbor was like, I'm a farmer, that's great. What benefit will you get? A tax write off? This whole concept of giving cows is completely irrelevant in modern society, Western society, and maybe even outside of India today. I mean, if you go into the city of Mumbai and you say to someone, here's 2,000 cows, I mean, really, maybe they can turn the cows into something and make money from it. I don't know. It, it's not a benefit that really goes far in Western society. And I've brought this up before. Sometimes makes me feel like these Upanishads are man made, they're not the words of God. Here we have a God who doesn't know the power of his own thing, and then he gives benefits that have no value to people. And then obviously this Upanishad is written over a period of time because here is Busunda who asks a question, and then later Sanat Kumara and a different group asks a different question. So you either have an Upanishad with something that was added to it, or you have an Upanishad explaining two events that really aren't connected other than by this God was happened to be talking about this one topic. Still very man-made and odd. But it'd be interesting, I mean, I guess you could say, I don't know if this is interesting or not, but okay, this is the words of God, and our society has moved so far from God that we no longer trade cows, and thus the scripture is for eternity, but our society is no longer functioning under God's view. I mean, you could say that. You could. We could go back to a society that exchanges cows. 99% sure you wouldn't be seeing this video because we wouldn't have all the things we have because that's an agrarian society. Not to mention how many people have 2,000 cows even in that agrarian society. Yeah, sometimes these things just don't feel eternal message of God. And you could say, oh, well, you're criticizing the Upanishads, and how dare you? I've been called out on that before, and I go, what I'm trying to find is the truth. And if you say to me, well, criticizing this, well, you can't do that. Well, how am I going to find the truth? Oh, well, forget about the truth. The truth is just to believe this and take whatever, but maybe that's not what God wants from us. How do you know? How do you know? In which case, I'm not sinning at all. God's actually going, good job. You're actually asking the questions no one else wants to ask. And getting myself in trouble because no one else wants to get in trouble. I got that.